A planet that rains sand and Jupiter's spot is getting smaller. We'll find out all that stuff, why, and more on the next Astronomy and Coffee. Hey folks, look at me. I'm in a cafe here. I have no idea what that stuff is. What is that? I don't know. Anyways, it's me in a spacesuit out in space getting coffee. There we go. Okay. So welcome back to another Astronomy and Coffee here out in space, I guess. I'm in a spaceship here having coffee. Apparently the coffee is on fire down below. That's not good. Great. Okay. So yeah, we have a planet out there that's been known about, but it is said to rain sand. It has clouds of silica. It rains sand. Also, the spot in Jupiter is getting much smaller. So let's take a look at those photos of that smallish red spot and look at why that's happening. So first up, let's take a look at this planet that rains sand. It is called WASP 107b. We've actually already gone over this in a past episode. But let's take a look at it here. It is currently, well, you can find it in the constellation of Virgo. But this is a mere 200 light years away, and this planet here, this gas giant, has the density of about styrofoam. And it has clouds that they think is made of sand, or material that is likened to sand. Now, how did things get to be so weird? Well, this is called WASP 107b, and it can be found in the constellation Virgo. And we're going to zoom into it a bit here and take a look at it. Take a look at it up close. Well, yes, its density is about twice that of styrofoam, and it is enveloped in high-altitude clouds of tiny sand particles. It orbits its star every 5.7 days, and it is about 6 times closer to its star than Mercury is to the Sun. Now, they estimate that it is about as large as Jupiter, but only about as massive as Neptune. Don't forget that mass and size are two different things. The mass of a planet, the size of a planet, two different things. Now, ever since the launch of the James Webb Space Telescope, we have been finding out lots of new things out there. Now, on board the James Webb is an instrument called the Mid-Infrared Instrument, or MIRI. And one of the things MIRI detected was evidence of a sand cloud, or sand clouds, in the outermost atmospheric layers of this planet. Now, the tiny particles of solid silica partly obscure the spectroscopic features from further down. Scientists say that they've never seen anything quite like this so clearly before. Now, there are winds on this planet as well that reach very high speeds, and this means if any spacecraft were ever to be sent to this planet, it would likely be sand-blasted apart. So this planet has a very low amount of an undetectable amount of methane in the atmosphere, but a very high amount of sulfur dioxide. Why does that matter? Well, because of this, the starlight is able to penetrate much deeper, causing the inner layers to become hotter at depth. And because of this, these sand particles are expected to rain down over time from the atmospheric cycle from the high temperatures at the deeper depth. And this will then evaporate, and the cycle will begin again as the particles go back up where they condense into the clouds and form, and then they rain down again. So it was posited a long time ago that this was a possibility, that planets could have clouds made of silica, and now the James Webb Telescope has found evidence that in fact it does exist. So WASP 107b could possibly, they think, very likely have these clouds made of silica, which in turn rains down sand. Let me see if I can get back into my spacesuit here. There we go. Yeah. Drink some coffee. So yes, there was a time that the red spot on Jupiter was so large you could fit 3 planet Earths side by side. Not so anymore. The red spot has been shrinking. Let's take a look at some photos of how it looks like now and some photos of how it used to look when it was much larger. Well, we all know this. This is called the Great Red Spot, the most defining feature of the largest planet in our solar system. And it has been raging for over hundreds of years now. And it is like a hurricane. It spins counterclockwise and it reaches up to about 300 miles per hour. But this red spot is shrinking. It used to be so large that you could fit those 3 planet Earths side by side, but now it is much smaller and even more round than previously seen. So yes, it has been raging for hundreds of years. Well, why so long, you might ask? Why has this particular hurricane been raging for so long? Why doesn't it just stop and dissipate? Well, it's a good question. There are no surface features on Jupiter, first of all. It is a gas giant. There is no surface on Jupiter. Now, here on Earth, when we have a hurricane, and when it passes through, it usually hits land and slows down significantly. We have mountains, we have lakes, we have all types of geological features which can slow down the wind. Not so on Jupiter. So why is the red spot shrinking? Well, here's the thing. We don't know. We don't know why it's shrinking. No, so we don't know why the red spot is shrinking. But currently, the Juno spacecraft is orbiting Jupiter. It is sending us back data, and scientists and astronomers are examining this data, trying to figure out why it is getting so much smaller. So in the meantime, while they try to figure this out, let's take a look at that shrunken red spot. Here it is. You can see how it is much rounder than it used to appear. And here's a look at how it used to look like, or how we kind of have it in our head whenever we think about it. Okay. Well, folks, that is about it. I haven't said this before, but please like and subscribe. We're going to be doing these every single Monday at 9 a.m., whatever time zone that you're in, with these new astronomical updates, as well as some updates that are going on in the planetarium and the rest of the museum. But I'd like to thank you all for, again, stopping by with me and having a cup of coffee while we go over these new astronomical findings out there, specifically what the James Webb Telescope has been finding. I have to say that that particular cup of coffee, it's not very good. Got it at this new place. Not liking it. So maybe next week we'll have something different. Any suggestions or any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And I will see you next week for some more stuff out there in space and some more coffee. See you all next week for another episode of Astronomy and Coffee.